to this evening's Theater of the Air dramatic reading. These half-hour performances of one-act plays are sponsored by Headley Textiles. When you need fabric, make sure it's Headley. Tonight's performance is from a local Camino playwright and is called A History of Almond Trees. It begins. Roman and Janice are sitting on a bench. Janice taps Roman on the shoulder.
What?
What are you in for?
What was that?
I asked, what are you in for?
Immortality.
That's the sentence. What's the crime?
What do you mean?
How did you get here?
Well, when a mother and a father love each other very much.
Okay, I understand. If you don't want to talk, then you don't want to talk. I'm pretty excited, though. This is my first time. I think. It's difficult to remember. I mean, things that I thought were important seem impartial, impractical, inconsequential. And matters. Things that I didn't care much about are now of vital importance. Yeah, I'm on the road. I'm a little tired, so I'm just resting my feet, but I'm on the road.
Window pane poet.
Yeah. I still have to decide what I want to be.
Is that how it works?
So I've heard. I'm thinking about an almond tree or a raccoon. Perhaps an almond tree if I'm remembered, and a raccoon if I'm not.
What did you do?
Agriculture?
You'll be remembered.
Perhaps. History is restless of aggressive men. I have my own order of events. You're not concerned with posterity? No, I suppose you wouldn't be. To live in the memories of those who won't recognize you when you've changed. I exist more fully here than I will there, in time. Better here than in the ground. Though, I suppose such asceticism would carry its own rewards. Strength through resolution and all of that.
Were you a believer before?
Off and on.
Off and on, like some blinking light. It was that simple for you?
Well, it's never simple.
I can remember my birth and the seconds afterwards, creating worlds. The pink and the red, expansion. And I remember my mother telling me that I would live forever. She said I was blessed. It was a cruel warning. And so, yesterday morning I had estates in Africa. Yesterday night I sought counsel from the Senate. Today's morning brought famine, disease, but I saw none of it. I don't know what tonight will bring, but the prospect isn't what it used to be. If I know that in a week I'll be walking Pangea again, it hardly matters what happens in the intervening days. The moments change and fold themselves into decent clothes and get tucked away in a drawer somewhere or a cabinet. But my life doesn't have that. Things build on one another, things depend on one another, but my life, it's just shapeless. I mean, when you read about people in books, they have a purpose that you can draw on, that you can pick up and touch with your hands. My life is much less defined, and it's so commonplace. I mean, I was destined for great things, but it's so commonplace well, it's barely worth noting. I told my slaves to build barns, and they built castles. That's a definable life.
Actions will inevitably bring contour.
The ratio's all off. It's swallowed up by the geography of my days. The valleys far outweigh the hills. And the mountains get spread farther and farther apart until they're indiscernible from the hills and the hills from the trough. I don't sleep, but I dream. I don't breathe or eat, but I did have plans once. Scenarios, schemes for society.
You should be less concerned with the math of it, I think.
But that's all I have. My architecture remains unaltered, and things are no longer wholly. The dangerous experiences of youth, it turns out, weren't so dangerous, and the retirement plan will never come. I think if man's creations could withstand the destructive force of time, I would still carry certain aspirations. But the truth of the matter is that I would still rather eat goose than be accused of a harsh dogma. And I would rather live a life of quiet seclusion than see my conceptions washed away.
I considered myself a man of humility, but as they say, I didn't really know what humility was until I died. Such an absolute surpasses defeat. Surpasses those superficial webs of social. And what are you left with? The people you met, the actions you took, the maze and muddle of experiences that is not if energy's transferable anyway. And it is.
And how do you now cope with...
What do you mean? I'm going to...
You've decided...
Yes. I think. A raccoon would be fun, but I don't know. I'm on the road. I'm on the path. I'm in the shadow of Fortuna. Balance, not for me, no. Such vanity would surely be punished, but balance for you. And your hills, for the atoms, and for everything, really. For everything. I kept a frog in a cage. He came back as a busboy and stabbed me in the leg. He remembered, you see. Why deny the frog his balance? Or me my almond tree? Or you your dreams?
Did you come up with that?
No, but I steal from the town tub. My patience has been satisfied. I can distinguish the profile of my death. I can see the horizon. In life, I wrote down my dreams, conferring with philosophers and physicians about their meaning. Their philosophies I found corrupt, and their foolish medicines killed me. But I cannot find the strength to carry anger. They meant well. After a while, I ceased to argue with them, and I entered death with no regrets.
I envy your peace.
Well, it's easy for me now. I get to go pick what I want to be.
Undecided again?
To make a plan it's a careless thing. Such ambition is always hollow, failing to see the forest for the trees. Nothing lasts, but everything matters. No, I'll leave it to the gods. An almond tree if I'm remembered, a raccoon if I'm not.
Tonight's play, A History of Almond Trees, was written by playwright Olivia.